Welcome to my channel. This video is a reaction video to the video by Wode, where he shares his experience, his bad experience with South African immigration officer. I've happened to watch that video this morning, and I said, no, let me just make a reaction video. The reason why I made a reaction video is because I went through the comments from the viewers, and I've just identified so much hate for South Africa. Now, I love South Africa and I love Africa as a whole. It's quite disappointing to see such comments, more especially because those comments are one-sided. Everyone seems to be blaming South Africa without touching the other parts, as if the African brothers that come to South Africa have done nothing wrong at all. We as South Africans are just attacking people for no apparent reason. I have to mention that it's disappointing to hear someone from another country, for example, such as Wode, complaining or having a bad experience in your own country. You wish that when someone comes to your country, that person will be treated with disrespect and with dignity and so on and so forth. But however, let's just look at this from a different angle. If you live in Nigeria, in Kenya, in Ghana, or wherever you live, I'm sure you have had bad experience with your own nation or with someone from your own tribe, where you go to the supermarket, for example, and received a bad experience. Did you say those people, did you then say those people from that tribe or from that country are bad? Or we specifically talk about the poor service that you have received? Because now it seems to be changing, the story seems to be changing and says, so Wode have had bad experience because he was in South Africa. If you watch his videos, you should know at least that he have had bad experience even in his own country in Ghana. He had bad experience in Uganda. He had bad experience in Zambia. Not only, he had multiple bad experience in Kenya. So we can't use those few incidences that happen here and there to judge a certain country. I think that's absolutely wrong. I find those comments a bit unfair, reason being they are one-sided. Like I've said before, they only focus on the fact that South Africans are reacting or are showing hatred to fellow South African, to fellow African, which is not entirely true. We are ignoring the fact that some of our African brothers are bringing drugs to this country. Some of our fellow Africans are stealing people from this country. People are disappearing, human trafficking. I didn't know that people do steal people until, well, some of our fellow Africans came to South Africa. Now, those are the issues that we are ignoring. I'm not going to talk about the employment issues, because the employment issues are debatable. I mean, there's a whole lot, that's a topic on its own. The issue of, but there's a common thing that when it comes to conflict that you can notice. Let's just sample a few challenges that we have had in Africa. I'm not talking about South Africa alone now. Let's just sample a few clashes, a few conflicts that have been there in South Africa, and let's in Africa, and check what is common. Okay, let's talk about Nigeria. In Nigeria, there is a conflict. There was rather a recent conflict between the people, Fulani people, and agricultural people over the land disputes over the agricultural land, and also grazing land on the Fulani side. In Kenya, if you live in Kenya, you will know that once upon a time, at a certain stage, there was a conflict between the Maasai people and the Kikuyu people. There was another conflict between the Kalenjin people and also the Kikuyu people. In Ghana, for example, in Ghana, recently, if I'm not mistaken, it should have been 2018, if not 2018, when I've heard the news that there is a conflict, there are land disputes between the Kokomba and the Chokosi tribes. If you look into all those conflicts that I've mentioned, by the way, there's a whole lot more that I can mention that happen across Africa. If you look into those conflicts, you will notice one common factor. People are fighting over resources. That's the source of problems to start off with. What I'm trying to say here is there is no one, for example, I can't wake up one day and say, oh, that Nigerian, I hate those Nigerians, or those Kenyans, the way I so hate. No, there's no such thing. No one will ever do that. We don't do that. No one across the whole Africa will do that. So, okay, I hate those Maasai people. No, the Maasai people, for example, didn't just wake up one day and say, let's go attack those Kikuyu people because we simply hate them. No, people are fighting over resources. That is one. Number two, and which is actually number one to me, is that African people do not understand each other. We don't understand each other. We are trying so hard to understand the European people, the American people, but we hardly understand our neighbors. If you live in Kenya, you hardly know what's happening in Somalia. Unless, if, of course, it's trending somewhere on Twitter and you're going to put your 2-cent comment, as if you really understand. The fact of the matter is that you do not understand what is happening in Africa. You don't know what's happening in Africa. So do yourself a favor. Next time, before you put malicious comment or hate comments about your fellow African, just make sure that you do understand what's happening in that country and try to understand what really causes conflict. Let me just refer back to the example that I've just given to you. If you check the conflict that's there between the Fulani people and the agricultural people, you will notice that it's said that if the Fulani people move towards the north of Nigeria, they hardly have problems, because those people in the northern parts of Nigeria do understand, have been living with those Fulani people, behaving in the manner that in which they are behaving, looking for sharing the same resources for quite some time now. They don't have a problem. They don't have much problem, so to speak, about the Fulani people and the other people. Whereas the challenge is whereby when the Fulani people move towards the south, that's where they experience problems. That's where the problem starts. But if you look into those problems as to why there are those problems, it's because most of the time the Fulani people are moving towards the north and not from towards the south. So there are no common ground between the Fulani people and the southern people. That is the problem. That's where the problem starts. For example, when there was war in Rwanda between the Hutus and the Tutsis that we all know, some of the things that actually fueled the war, you will notice that it was the issue of misunderstanding between the two. The Hutus and the Tutsis. The Tutsis are the minority and the Hutu are the majority, but there was some conflict. I don't have to go into details into that. You can do your own research and see what really causes the problem. But the point that I'm trying to highlight here is we don't understand each other. We are so quick on jumping onto each other's throat for no apparent reason, without an understanding. So the first step for us as Africans, we have to understand each other. We have to know each other. Other than that, we always have problems. The second point that I'm going to make, by the way, before I make a second point, when we talk about leadership, I know when these xenophobic attacks start, or when something wrong happens between two countries, that's the only time our African leaders will talk about it. And after that, they're dead quiet. I'm not too sure. I'm not a politician. I don't follow politics that much. But I think our African leaders only pay attention to the agendas that have been given by the United Nations or Europe or something. This is another a problem that we have. That's a big problem. The second point that I like to mention is that after we have understood each other, if we do have understanding, with each other's understanding, if we know exactly what's happening in other countries, by understanding each other, I'm talking about the values of other people. If you know the values of other people, then you won't go in that countries and start selling drugs and start stealing people and start selling people for sex, for example. You will not do that because you understand people and you have respect for those people, which is the main thing. If you respect other people, you will pay attention to how they live, you pay attention to their values, you also make sure that you do not do things that the very same people don't do. In other words, you will not violate their values, and which is the main thing to me. So, in short, to those people who put those comments on Wode Maya's video, please, try to understand Africa. Try to understand your fellow African. Don't rely on one source of information that you get from Twitter, social media, Facebook, or where you get that information from. Do your own small research and see what's happening in that country and look into matters holistically. And know Wode Maya is one of the best YouTuber in Africa. I like him because he talks about things that matter. He tells African stories that no one tells unless someone from Net Geo comes to Africa and start telling those stories, and we start paying attention to those stories. That's the reason why I love people like Wode Maya, who are African and are telling African stories. That's all I have to say for now. I love you, African child.